So in today's video, I want to talk about how you can maximize the effectiveness of your email campaigns and flows and anything to do with email marketing where you can basically extract more revenue. And so this has come off the back of my experience in e-commerce for the last 13 years. I co-founded an e-commerce business in 2013 with my brother, and that has since gone on to do multiple seven figures per year. And I've also helped over 250 e-commerce brands up to this point scale to record revenue months within their businesses, where it's their first 10K, 20K, 50K, etc. So I just wanted to share with you a part, I guess, of the puzzle when it comes to driving more sales and revenue for our businesses. And in all honesty, emails is kind of the boring, mundane one, right? The one that kind of just is over there. It's not very shiny, and people do tend to neglect it and certainly underutilize it. So one of the biggest opportunities I see for e-commerce brands, especially those that come through our e-commerce blueprint community, is the use of emails. So whether you've actually got a database or whether you're instructed or taught to build that database, two different things. But the secondary to that is actually being able to harvest the revenue through communications. There's really two main parts to email marketing. Okay, one is actually automations, and we call them flows, so email flows. So what that really basically means is that based on somebody's behavior, they enter a flow at a certain point through their customer journey. So for example, you've got someone signs up to your pop-up, your email list, and therefore they get a welcome series flow, right? It's an automation based on their activity. If they go to checkout and they abandon that checkout, well, a flow or an automation there is the abandoned checkout flow, right? They enter that point of their customer journey and it gets triggers, and then they're actually able to receive emails automatically. So that's the flows, and they are automated. The second part to email marketing is email campaigns. So when we talk about campaigns, that is manual. So think about it like this. It's a monthly newsletter, a weekly newsletter, a sale around Black Friday or end of financial year, whatever it might be. But you are planning to send that email out to your database at a given point in time. That's actually a manual effort. So they're the two parts, the flows and email campaigns. Now, both work hand in hand and both obviously serve different purposes, but both will extract monstrous amounts of revenue. Now, from a flows perspective, the reason that this is so effective, and typically there's a number of flows, there's probably 6 or 7 standard flows that I always recommend and help our clients set up, but 2 are predominantly most profitable. One is definitely the welcome series. Okay, so especially if you're offering discount or offer, typically people will sign up to that before they go and purchase, obviously, especially on their first purchase. So that typically is responsible for a large portion of revenue from a flows perspective. The second one to that, and sometimes they alternate between the most profitable, but they're definitely the top 2, is the abandoned checkout. So those that are warmest, they're closest to actually purchasing from you, but they fall over at the last hurdle. That series or that flow that actually gets them back is the most profitable. Now, why flows are so important, and we see really awesome exponential results when people just set up the standard flows that I touched on before in terms of what they didn't have before, and then they do start running. We see sales just tick through. Now, the reason that is the case is because flows are designed to send a certain message to a specific person at a certain time, right? It's a point in that customer journey. So I mentioned the 2 obvious ones, welcome series and abandoned checkout, but there's also, they're looking at a product that's called browse abandonment. They purchased from you 6 months ago and they receive an email that's called a win back, right? Because of their point in time, because of their actual customer journey, the email is well timed and it's very specific to them. Okay, so that's why email flows actually work so well. If you think about it completely the opposite way. If they sign up to an email list and suddenly they receive an abandoned checkout, hey, why did you leave your cart unattended, right? Or if they leave the checkout and then suddenly they receive the welcome series, it just obviously doesn't make sense. And so it's going to be completely ineffective. So that's what actually people do sometimes when it comes to the manual side of things, actually sending campaigns. They're sending the wrong emails to the wrong people at the wrong time. And so whilst flows basically force us to send the right emails to the right people at the right time, the opportunity actually lies, obviously you need to get them set up. So have them set up. I've got videos on how to set that up and things like that. You can have a look through. But make sure you've got your standard flows set up. The opportunity really lies in how we send manual campaigns out. Okay, so consider the flows done. You're getting maximal revenue there. Now it's time to look at the campaigns. And so we need to look at it in the way that flows actually enact, which is through basically what I would call segmentation. That's a generic term that email marketers will use, and they should, because what it does, it basically pulls or categorizes categorizes people within your database on your mailing list into segments. A really simple term, again, is have purchased before, have not purchased before. They are two segments. And the difference between what you say to the person who have purchased before versus not purchased before are, or could be, wildly different. Okay, an example for Karmic Cold Pressed Juice, the cold pressed juice company I founded 13 years ago. If you have purchased before, the message that I might send to you is, hey, hope you had an amazing experience. People get the most benefits when they do 2 or more juice cleanses, like over a 2-month period or something like that. Whereas the message I might send to someone who hasn't purchased before is around, hey, these are the amazing benefits and results that people get from trying a juice cleanse. Okay. And you might even start with the line of, I know you haven't tried us before, but just give us a shot or something like that. It's very specific for their point in time. Whereas if you just send a generic email to everybody on a database that says, our juice cleansers are the best and you should try it if you haven't, and if you have tried it, then you should come back. No one's going to listen. It's the difference between saying, hey, everybody in a train station versus, hey, is there a doctor in the house? Or, hey, Will. And all the Wills will turn around and be like, yeah, like, you talking to me? Okay. So that's the way we should view our email marketing. And so this is where you can get incredibly exponential and crazy results with your email marketing. If you're in a position where you're like, yeah, I send an email every now and then and it doesn't do anything, which is a typical response, then this is a way that you can get deeper and more specific to extract better results. Because the more specific you can get, the more customized you can get to a person at a point in time, the more results, the better sales you're actually going to get through your email marketing, right? So over time, you should really be prioritizing building out that database, whether that looks like just purely traffic to site and people signing up to your opt-in, right? Your pop-up, your embedded form. Whether that's running lead generation ads through Meta, for example, through a lead magnet, right? For some information. Whether that's running competitions where people sign up to your email list to obviously enter the competition. There's a myriad of ways that we can build that database. That focus needs to be on building it. And then the secondary focus needs to be on how can we actually extract the revenue. And that is through specificity or segmentation. Understanding intimately where they are in their journey, then being able to communicate why they basically wouldn't be purchasing at this point in time and countering that, right? That's what selling basically is. We're handling objections or handling questions that they might have, okay? Levels of doubt, risk reversal, whatever that might be. As I say, that's going to be completely different from the person that has purchased versus hasn't purchased before, because they hopefully would have a good experience with you. So it's not that they don't trust you. It's about, well, maybe it's just not the right time or whatever. And it's like, okay, what about with your partner? What about this great offer? What about we schedule it in the future? There's obviously infinite things that you can do specific to your brand, right? Customize it to your brand, of course. And then obviously for the people who haven't purchased before, reversing that risk, guarantees, social proofing, money back if you don't like it, satisfaction guarantees, that sort of thing works really, really well. So I just wanted to touch on that. It's especially important coming into sales period, because how you speak to people is going to deliver results better than if you're not thinking about this at all. Okay, so I would very much encourage you to think about this the way that flows operate autonomously. If we can have the similar mindset of specificity through how we talk to our database and use segmentation to help you define that in various ways, as I mentioned, then you're going to get way better results, way better sales. And this is something that email marketers, we've worked with email marketers that charge $5,000 a month, but their sole responsibility is to deliver sales through emails. And so this is everything that I've learned that I share with you on this channel, but this is one very specific thing that I'm talking about. So I hope this was valuable for you. I hope it actually opened up your mind about how you can extract a little bit more, juice over here from the emails that, as I say, aren't flashy, aren't sexy, but are so important. They should contribute a minimum of 30% of our sales every single month. And if it's not at that level, then shine some light, actually have some focus on A, building, and B, extracting. Okay. So I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, I'd love a like, I'd love a subscribe, and sharing tips like this all the time and all the value I possibly can to people on my channel. So thanks for watching till the end. If you want to know about what we do and how we help e-commerce brands, you can click on the link below and check it out for yourself. But other than that, thanks for being here. Appreciate you watching till the end, and I'll catch you in the next one.